He signed the divorce papers with a lazy grin, already thumbing a message to his girlfriend about Tulum, while I sat across the table cradling a thick ivory envelope that still carried the faint scent of jasmine, my late grandmother's perfume. My name is Sophia Reed. And in that bleak conference room in downtown Boston, with sleet rattling the windows and the stale smell of burnt coffee hanging in the air, I finally understood that the quietest moments can be the most deafening. At 35, I felt decades older. Across from me sat my soon-to-be ex-husband, Nathan Hayes, 38, immaculate in a charcoal suit that cost more than most people's rent. He was vice president of coastal operations at Harbor Crest Properties, a title he wore like a crown. He tapped his Rolex impatiently, sighed theatrically, and scrawled his name without a glance in my direction. "There," he said, sliding the papers toward me with a smirk. "Freedom at last, Sophia. Time to figure out how the real world works without riding my coattails." I didn't flinch. I simply rested my hands on the envelope sealed with burgundy wax and the elegant crest of Ellison and Pierce, the law firm that managed fortunes most people only read about in magazines. The mediator, Judge Harlan, a no-nonsense woman with silver-streaked hair, reached for the documents. "Standard terms," she murmured. "Prenup enforced. No spousal support. Separate assets remain separate. Mrs. Hayes, if you're ready." I gently pushed the envelope forward. "Before I sign, this needs to be entered into the record. It reflects a material change in my financial position that occurred 4 days ago." Nathan snorted, eyes still on his phone. "Let me guess, Grandma left you her china collection? Keep it. I don't want any of your dusty heirlooms." Judge Harlan broke the seal. The room grew impossibly still as she unfolded heavy cream stock paper. Her brows lifted, then shot higher. She glanced at me, at my simple navy dress, the one I'd worn to the memorial service Nathan had skipped, then back to the page. A faint tremor touched her fingers. She cleared her throat. "Mr. Hayes," she said sharply. "Put the phone down." He rolled his eyes but obeyed. The judge's voice turned crisp and commanding. "Let the record show the last will and testamentary trust of the late Eleanor Reed. The deceased was the founder and sole controlling shareholder of Reed Atlantic Holdings, a private trust valued at approximately $140 billion. Its portfolio includes majority stakes in 72 entities, among them Harbor Crest Properties." Nathan's head snapped up. His tan drained to ash. "That's impossible," he stammered. "Harbor Crest is owned by a blind trust. Sophia's grandmother lived in a seaside cottage. She was practically broke." The judge continued, relentless. "Upon Mrs. Reed's death 4 days ago, full ownership, voting rights, and executive authority transferred immediately to the sole beneficiary, Sophia Reed." Nathan's mouth opened, closed. He stared at the papers he'd just signed, the ones that freed him from a woman he believed had nothing. If that money is hers, then as her husband." "You waived all claims," Judge Harlan cut in. "The prenuptial agreement you insisted on 7 years ago explicitly excludes future inheritances. You protected your own assets quite thoroughly, Mr. Hayes. But the final blow was yet to come. There's an addendum," the judge said quietly. "For 6 years, a proxy identified only as S. Reed has attended Harbor Crest board meetings with full veto power over executive decisions." Nathan went rigid. For years he'd raged in emails about the invisible meddler who kept rejecting his aggressive expansion plans, calling S. Reed an out-of-touch relic blocking progress. He'd never once suspected the relic was the wife he dismissed as a part-time watercolor instructor. I finally spoke, my voice steady. "I don't attend morning spin classes on Thursdays, Nathan. I take the private elevator to the 46th floor. I've been in the observer gallery every time you presented. I was there when you tried to slash safety budgets for your bonus. I was there when you called the board fossils who wouldn't know growth if it bit them." His eyes widened in horror. He looked at me, at the woman he'd belittled for years, and saw a stranger. By late afternoon, the entire Harbor Crest Tower buzzed with the news. I walked through the marble lobby in a tailored black suit, heels echoing like gunfire. Nathan trailed 10 steps behind, badge deactivated, begging security to let him in. "Sophia, wait, we can fix this." I didn't know. We can tear up the papers. I'll withdraw the divorce. Please. I stepped into the elevator. You signed, Nathan. And unlike you, I always read what I sign. The doors closed on his desperate face. In the executive boardroom, 50 senior leaders rose as I entered. I took the chair at the head of the table, the one I'd watched from the shadows for 6 years. Evidence mounted swiftly: forged occupancy reports, stolen project designs, embezzled expense accounts. One by one, the people Nathan had stepped on spoke up. His protector in finance was exposed by his own email trail. Even his girlfriend handed over damning recordings to save herself. The climax came in open court when Nathan sought an injunction to halt the audit, claiming personal vendetta. Instead, he forced every piece of objective fraud into public record. The judge denied his motion. The board voted unanimously to terminate him for cause, invoking the very zero-tolerance clause he'd championed years earlier. His golden parachute vanished, courtesy of his own signature. Security escorted him out while he clutched a single cardboard box. That night, standing on the top floor overlooking Boston's glittering harbor, I held my grandmother's opened envelope. It wasn't revenge she'd gifted me, it was clarity. I hadn't destroyed Nathan. I'd simply stopped carrying him. At 35, I was free, powerful, and finally, undeniably myself.